Where's the night gone?
Into my memory book. This week's been a wonderful adventure. Too bad my husband had to cut it short by coming home.
You're very precious to me, darling. Perhaps someday we'll meet again.
Oh, Edward. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, Toddy, dear, I really shouldn't.
Nonsense. When I saw it in the hotel jewelry shop, it had your name written all over it.
I'll remember you with every passing hour.
Everybody told me that that field was as dry as a bone. But I could smell the oil just like my daddy could. And I want to tell you, it rained black gold for 24 hours. Honey, I bet you just love Texas.
Sorry I kept you waiting, dear.
Oh,
Good luck in all your ventures, Mr. Doe.
thank you, ma'am.
Could I just get a cup of coffee, please?
As I live and breathe.
Dear Dolan, what the hell are you doing at St. Gregory?
Well, at these rates, it's obvious I'm not here for my health. How you been, Eddie?
Huh?
I see you still parading around like a head waiter in a penguin suit.
Women appreciate a little style in a man.
Oh,
At least
yeah.
I didn't ride in off the range.
I've had no complaints. I figure the St. Gregory is going to be a gold mine for me.
Hey, I've already staked my claim to this hotel. Why don't you be a good sport checking across the street?
Oh, sorry about that. We'll just have to stay out of each other's way. You know, all's fair in love and war.
You haven't played fair since you left Jersey City.
By the way, I think it's time we spruced up the royal suite. We've let it go far too long.
I dropped in last week. It looked fine.
So old-fashioned, Peter, all that gold leaf.
Our guests love that old traditional style.
Traditional or archaic? We talked about fixing up the royal 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I already authorized the decorators.
Well, then unauthorize it.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm the general manager.
And I'm co-owner. That means I'm bigger than you. I'm taller, too. Yeah, think about it.
Claire? Oh, what a wonderful surprise.
Excuse me?
Well, you are Claire Trumbull, aren't you?
Not in this life, I'm afraid.
Well, surely we've met somewhere before. Sardinia, or was it Mystique?
Well, I've been there, but I don't believe it.
Knew it. Edward Nicholson never forgets a face. Certainly never one as lovely as yours, Mrs.
Woodbridge.
Well, Mr. Woodbridge. Perhaps I met him too.
My husband passed away.
Forgive the gap. Maybe I could make it up to you by inviting you for tea this afternoon. We could reminisce about white sands and tropic breezes.
You're coming on more like a hurricane, Mr. Nicholson, is it?
I didn't mean to be a pest. Enjoy your stay.
Thank you. On second thought, Mr. Nicholson, tea would be wonderfully refreshing.
Thank you.
Sure, I'm nervous. I had to take the bar again, didn't I? This waiting's getting to me.
On anything, Doe. So if you could...
I just know you passed this time, Dave.
Well, pass or fail, I figure I'm at a crossroads. I'll go nuts if I don't get out of this uniform and start making something out of my life. I'll see you later, Christine.
It's my first time. Make sure it's... there. So... Christine.
It is you.
Thank God. You look more beautiful than ever.
Tom.
I had a speech prepared. And
You just flew clear out of my head.
I don't believe it. I'd given you up for dead.
What do you mean you can't give me a refund? I've always been treated beautifully at Cartier, Van Cleef.
I'd be delighted to exchange it for you, Mr. Nicholson.
When I told Mrs. Anderson I intended to return her birthday gift, she assured me I would be treated with the utmost courtesy.
Mrs. Anderson, she's one of our best customers. I'd no idea.
She and I are very close.
Would you accept my check?
I wrote so many letters to the Navy after you were shot down. And the years passed, and it seemed hopeless.
It was hopeless. I wanted to die in that prison camp.
Oh, Tom, I'm so sorry.
The bad days are behind me now. I'm back on active duty, heading out to sea. I joined my new squadron in Japan in a few days.
Why didn't you let me know you were alive after you got back from Vietnam?
Well, that's tough to explain. When I stepped off that plane onto American soil again, I guess I thought I was some kind of hero. And nobody else seemed to give a damn. It's like I was an embarrassment.
That's not true.
No, that's how I felt. You wouldn't have liked me much in those days. I got in a lot of fights. I couldn't handle coming home. I needed to be alone. You remember how I used to talk about the Cascades?
We said we'd get a cabin up there someday.
I got that cabin. I left the Navy, and I hiked through the wilderness for days on end till I got my head straight.
Couldn't you have called? Just to talk?
I used to talk all the time. To myself when there was no one else around to listen. There was an ugly piece of music in my head. I had to get rid of it.
Did you?
And I rediscovered a few things, too. Like how much I still love my country and flying. And I signed up again and, well, here I am. When I saw this, I knew I had to find you.
I can't tell you what this means. To know you're safe and alive.
Jane, you wouldn't have the housekeeping budget.
Peter.
Excuse me.
I'd like you to meet a very special person. Tom Hardison and McDermott.
Nice to meet you.
Tom and I knew each other in college.
I'm sorry to barge in.
Look, Christine, you're busy. Why don't we have dinner tonight?
I'd like that very much. Tom volunteered for Vietnam, but he was shot down and captured.
Are you all right, Christine? You look a little shaken up.
I thought he died. I never expected to see him again.
It sounds like he was pretty important to you.
Until I met you. Tom was the most important man in my life.
Should I, after tea and cakes and ices, have the strength to force the moment to its crisis?
Beautiful.
T.S. Eliot.
Oh, you're a literary man.
Oh, would that I were. Clever verses do not a sound financial future make. But I did hear about
Eddie
it.
Nicholson, well, how are you? And how's the wife and the kids, huh?
The man's an inveterate jester. Terry Dolan, Mrs. Woodbridge.
Howdy.
I'd ask you to join us.
Thank
but,
you.
Oh, I have to go. I have some phone calls to make, and my travel agent's coming by.
Travel. I always find it so very exciting.
Well, I'm afraid my trip to Australia is more in the nature of business than pleasure.
What a shame.
Thank you for the tea, Mr. Nicholson. Nice to have met you, Mr. Dolan.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Your timing's perfect.
Did you check it out at Brunandad Street, Wade?
Must you reduce every eligible widow to the level of a balance sheet?
Well, men in our profession, we can't afford to let sentiment get in the way.
And I can't afford to let you get in my way. Besides, You're not her type.
Oh, don't be so sure. Hey, what do you say to a gentleman's wager? The first to win the lady's heart be judged the better man. That is, unless you're afraid of the competition.
What? Afraid of you? Oh.
Oh. Oh.
Consider it a bet. Of course, the victor should have some token of his triumph.
Well, what do you have in mind?
Well, I find myself short of a timepiece. I've always admired that gold watch the Contessa gave you.
Oh, I've always admired those gold cufflinks that the senator's wife gave you. A deal.
Deal.
That's my first night on the town with a beautiful woman in 15 years.
Sounds like a whale of a tale to me. I'll put on the coffee.
Same old methodical Christine, I see. You still keep your books in alphabetical order. What do you know? Here's one I gave you. Twice or thrice had I loved thee.
Before I knew thy face or name.
The things we say when we're young. Remember how we talked about the things we'd do? We'd take on the world. I started keeping a journal when I was up in the mountains. About the life I had before the war. It helped me to remember the good days. To remember you.
If you need to talk, I'm here.
I didn't come here to talk. Do you remember what you said to me the night before I left?
What?
That you'd never love another man.
The way I loved you.
That was the night of the big dance at the student union. We'd been kissing and touching for hours.
Tom, please. That was a long time ago. We're different people now.
Are we? I've never stopped loving you. And I believe that you still love me.
You never told me about Tom.
What was there to tell? When I met you, I thought he was dead.
I'm surprised the Navy let him fly again after he quit the service.
The Navy was always his life. He went through training again and proved he was still the same great pilot he always was.
Sounds pretty romantic.
You don't mind, do you? By spending time with him? He's only got a few days before he...
Of course I don't mind.
Good morning, Mrs. Woodbridge. This is Terry Dolan. We met yesterday at tea.
Oh, yes, Mr. Nicholson's friend.
Sorry you couldn't stick around and taste some of those scones with us.
I bet they were delicious.
Say, how about being my guest for a little bit of breakfast?
Well, I find your self-confidence charming, but I'm right in the middle of breakfast at this moment.
Oh. Well, how about lunch then? If you said no, you'd ruin my whole day for me.
Well, I couldn't have that on my conscience, could I? Noon, Mr. Dole?
Fine. Bye.
Well, your friend is almost as persistent as you are.
Well, Terry?
Yeah.
Well, he's a nice chap, even if he is a little pushy.
Have you known him long?
I feel I've known you longer, Catherine.
Oh, come on now. You know we never met before yesterday.
Truth is, when I saw you in the lobby. I don't know, something tugged at my heart. That probably sounds terribly corny.
Yes, but terribly romantic, too.
That's how you make me feel.
I think I'm gonna have to watch out for you, Mr. Nicholson.
Edward, please. After all, we're friends now, aren't we?
We can't just pick up where we left off as if nothing else happened in between.
You mean like Peter happened? Is that why you wouldn't let me stay with you last night?
Don't tell me there haven't been any women in your life these past few years.
Nobody who ever meant anything.
Tom, I don't want to hurt you. You're the first man I ever made love with. But everything's changed since then.
Christine. Night after night, I'd lie awake in that prison camp, and I'd imagine I was holding you in my arms. Sometimes we'd even dance together. I'm afraid I stepped on your toes a few times.
You were a wonderful dancer.
Somehow you knew I was alive. You've waited for me to come back.
Why couldn't you have warned me? You had to just walk through those doors into the lobby. This is all so unfair.
Christine.
Everything's happening too fast.
We've already lost too many years. I'm not gonna lose you again.
I do love you. I've always loved you.
Oh, might have known I'd see you here.
About time you start to spruce up your act.
Just tidy it up for you, huh? Well, I figure Mrs. Woodbridge deserved to see me in my best light. After all, I'm taking her to lunch today.
Well, I guess you're entitled to an hour of her time. After all, I had her all morning.
All morning?
Kid, those hands. Give him a manicure.
Hand? What's the matter with my hand? Ladies never complain.
Oh, well, the kind you're successful with never complain about anything. Hey, why don't you just retire gracefully? Catherine is way out of your league.
Oh, yeah? Well, I haven't even gotten started yet.
Did you think any more about redecorating the royal suite?
I really don't feel it's necessary.
Well, I really feel it is.
Okay, you've been on edge ever since I walked in here. What's going on?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about Tom Hardison. Isn't that what's bothering you?
You have to understand. Tom is the first man I ever truly loved. And he still loves me.
I see. What about you? How do you feel? You still love him?
I don't know.
Don't you think you better find out?
An oil wildcatter. That sounds exciting and a little risky. But you're not really from Texas, are you?
Ma'am, them there is fighting words.
Well, that accent does seem to come and go.
Well, it mostly goes. But it won't do to tell most people that I was an upstart Easterner. I like you, Kate.
Thank you.
You don't pull any punches.
You wouldn't be one of those, how can I say this and not be impolite, opportunist?
Well, if that means wanting to get to know you better, I'm guilty. You're a very lovely lady.
Thank you. I haven't been so flattered by a man in a long time.
You know, it seems very lonely, you trooping halfway around the world on your own.
Well, it couldn't be helped. My husband had business interests in Australia.
Australia? That's some place I've always wanted to go.
Excuse me, Mrs. Woodbridge?
Yes.
These are from you.
Thank you.
The gentleman asked me to wait for a reply.
Oh, all right. Excuse me. Tell the gentleman the answer is yes.
Yes, ma'am.
My dance card suddenly seems to be getting very full. That was a lovely lunch.
Yeah, sure was. Well, maybe we can have a lovely dinner as well.
Well, now you know I've got plans for dinner.
Are you sure I can't get you to change it?
Excuse me, Mr. Dolan?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's been a mistake. The cashier asked me to speak with you. It seems the bank has refused to honor your check.
They did. Well, I just made a deposit this morning.
Well, perhaps if we called your bank.
I know what it is. You see, it's an out-of-state check, and it takes a couple of days for them to clear it. I'll call them now and alert them.
Thanks for letting me come aboard.
Well, I'm afraid I've only got a few minutes. They're giving me a refresher course on a new missile system. Christine tells me you were in the service, too.
Army, and I was a helicopter pilot attached to NATO.
Seems we have something else in common. Besides Christine.
Look, you're only going to hurt her with this romantic fantasy of yours.
You don't know anything about it. I suggest you don't interfere.
You were a long time ago. She's a different girl now, changed.
Then why did she tell me that she still loves me?
It isn't love. It's memories and sentiment. You're playing with her feelings.
You know how you sound, McDermott? You sound like a man who knows he's about to lose a woman.
You may love Christine, but you don't know her anymore. We've been together a long time. You got no right to.
I've got every right to take her away with me.
You're fooling yourself. Christine and I are good together. Leave her alone.
The ensign will show you ashore. I'm afraid I've got to get back to work. If you and Christine are so good together, why aren't you married? Living happily ever after. You're the one who's fooling yourself, McDermott.
Oh, I love dancing. I never could seem to get my husband to enjoy an evening on the town like this.
Do you have other good memories?
Oh, yes. Wonderful ones. And you?
Well, after my wife died, I sort of lost my bearings.
So you wander from place to place?
Like the Flying Dutchman, alone, whither the four winds blow.
Oh, you poor darling.
Well, I made a few good investments when I was younger. Oh, these days, sometimes it's difficult to make ends meet.
Mrs. Woodbridge?
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I seem to have more friends in San Francisco than I'd imagined. Well, you and your friend are quite different, but I do notice a similarity in style.
Terry and I share a weakness for beauty and charm. Catherine, I haven't felt like this since I can't remember. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn.
May I have this dance?
Christine, I could give you a good life.
Thought I was having a good life.
Waiting for Peter McDermott to ask you to marry? We were meant to be together. You could leave the St. Gregory without hurting him.
Become a Navy wife? Trailing you around the world?
Well, what's wrong with that? It can be a wonderful life.
Not for me. Thank you.
Christine, in a few years, I'm going to get assigned to shore duty. And then we'll have a real home. And children.
Tom, we were another lifetime ago.
Peter's this lifetime?
Yes.
Then how come you don't already have that home and children with him? You keep waiting for Peter, and you'll grow old alone.
What are you worried about? Christine's the most sensible woman I know. She's not about to fall for another guy.
Tom Hardison's not just another guy. He was her first real love. They never resolved their feelings for each other.
Then shouldn't you be with Christine tonight instead of him?
I want her to have dinner with him. I can't come between them. That would only hurt my relationship with Christine.
I don't understand you. You said you were going to fight for her.
This is the only way I can fight. By leaving her alone to find out what she's really feeling.
That's easy. She's in love with you.
Is she? You want to know what she's feeling right now? That her whole life's being turned inside out. I have to let her work Tom Hardison out of her mind, out of her heart, and out of this hotel.
How?
She'll turn up tomorrow feeling torn in two. Come back here not because of me, but because of the St. Gregory.
What the hell are you talking about? You're wrong, my friend. You're upset and you're wrong.
Am I? Then how do I answer Hardison's damn question?
What question?
Why haven't Christine and I ever gotten married?
Okay, oh, that's beautiful. Sure, yours smells better than a carrot stick.
Smells good, doesn't it? Yeah. Let's sit down over there, huh?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Well, now.
Is that good?
Good. Looks delicious.
I'm having a wonderful time.
So am I.
Terry, what do you really want from me?
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
I don't know. I'd like to find out.
Look at there.
You know, since my husband died, I've been at such loose ends. When we were married, he made all the decisions for both of us about everything.
Well, maybe it's about time you started making your own decisions.
Maybe so. Terry? What would you think about coming to Australia with me?
Oh, wow, Katie. I'd like nothing better.
Good.
See, I've been on my own for years now, just drifting around. But there's only one problem. I've got all my money tied up right now.
Oh, I could lend you the price of the ticket. I mean, if you don't mind going coach with me.
Coach? Well, I can see right now that your husband, he taught you all about fiscal responsibility.
Well, not really.
No, Katie, I couldn't take any money from you.
I said it was a loan. Is it all settled? I mean, that wasn't too hard, was it?
Well, don't stick me with that pin again.
I'm flattered you're finally taking the hint. Copying my style.
Australia's already got enough cowboys. Now, how wide should these cuffs be?
1.25 with a break. Australia? On what? You haven't even paid the hotel bill.
Not for you to worry, old man. Mrs. Woodbridge said for you to put it on her credit card. Now, Eddie, it was a valiant attempt. Unfortunately, you didn't rise to the occasion.
In case you haven't heard, the opera ain't over till the fat lady sings.
Hello, Terry.
Edward.
Oh, Edward, excuse me. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings.
Catherine, before you rush off to Australia with that New Jersey cowboy, I must see you.
Well, everything's happened so fast.
That's what worries me. Could you meet me at the rear entrance in a half hour?
Oh, Edward, I don't see what that would accomplish.
Please, at least hear me out.
Are you about to blast off, or are you already in orbit?
All I can think about is the bar exam.
Yeah. When are you going to hear the results?
Any day now.
Well, we're all rooting for you, Counselor.
Hey. Hi. Hey, Mr. Security. What do you know about that handsome friend of Christine's in the white uniform?
I hear he's a Navy commander.
You'd like to fly away with Christine?
How's the boss feel about it?
You know, Peter, he'll give her the space she needs.
To go off into the wild blue yonder? I don't see him standing still for that.
Don't say it, I know. I look ridiculous.
No, you just look like you're gonna whisk me off to a dude ranch.
Well, how about once around the park for starters?
Once around the park. Oh, there! Oh, you smooth-talking Dickens, you. This is it, huh?
This is it.
Did you bring this in from Central Park?
Edward Nicholson, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Dorothy. Oh, what a surprise.
It certainly was. I just came from the jeweler's. If you'd wanted to be paid like a gigolo, it could have been arranged. Take my advice, dear. Put a lock on your pocketbook.
It's, not what you think.
Once around the park. Were you that desperate?
Hello. Just a few things I bought for the trip. Well, hey, what's going on here?
Do you know your friend here is a con man? Thank God it wasn't you.
Well, actually, the truth is...
Terry.
Wait a minute. I'm beginning to get the picture here. A lonely woman comes to San Francisco and meets two smooth-talking con men and ends up making an absolute fool of herself.
Please, I was going to tell you.
When? After you'd taken me for everything you thought I had? You think I have millions, don't you? Well, the joke's on you, gentlemen.
What do you mean?
My husband hardly left me any money at all.
You wouldn't last 5 minutes on a naval base. You belong here with me.
Do I?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't you even a little concerned I might fly off with him?
Concerned enough not to get any sleep last night.
What are you trying to tell me?
About 3 o'clock in the morning, I suddenly realized how much I've been taking you for granted.
We don't exactly own each other, do we?
Maybe it's time to change that.
What do you mean?
I'm asking you to marry me, Christine.
Hi.
Hello?
Can I come in for a minute?
Make it short and sweet, Mr. Dolan. My plane leaves this evening.
Here's something I got for you.
Oh, thank you. I always thought I was a pretty good judge of character, but you are way out of my league.
I stopped off at the tailor's and I canceled that suit.
Oh, did you?
And all those other things that I charged to your account?
Oh, my.
Well, I returned those too.
Oh, really? Gonna go away empty-handed, are you? Without all that money you'd anticipated? That's gonna ruin your reputation, isn't it?
I won't deny that I set out to con you, get whatever I could. But what I got back in return was something I didn't count on. Companionship and sincere affection.
Oh, please, Mr. Dolan. I may be naive, but I'm not stupid.
I want to make it up to you.
Oh, fine. Well, then start by going right out that door.
Katie, I really fell for you. You might not want to believe that, but it's true.
Christine? What's the matter?
Peter, please. I need some time to think about this. Promised you wouldn't pressure me.
Don't believe everything a man in love says.
Maybe I'm still in shock.
How long are you going to keep me waiting for an answer?
Peter McDermott proposing marriage.
I don't understand what's happened to you. You always wanted us to get married, and now when I ask...
Yes. When you finally ask. Something has happened to me, Peter. I don't understand it yet myself.
All right, Christine. All in all, we haven't been too bad together, have we?
All in all, we've had some lovely times. The best.
Yeah, I should have told her earlier when I had a chance. Been honest with her.
She would have thrown you out right out on your ear. Come on, pick yourself up. Plenty of chickens in the hen house.
Yeah, well, I'm tired of playing the fox.
Is this sentimentality rearing its ugly head? That's not part of the game.
No. Well, the game was over as soon as I fell in love. Huh.
Yesterday, you said you still loved me. I know you meant it.
I did. But I can't go with you.
You really do belong here, don't you?
Don't be angry with me.
I'll leave tonight.
You don't have to.
It's better that I go now. You were right. I guess I was holding on to another lifetime. Forgive me.
I told you. I'll never love another man the way I loved you.
You really are happy here, aren't you?
And you? You'll be back flying?
It's what I've always wanted.
I loved seeing you. Hearing that voice.
I have to go now. Maybe someday.
Yeah. Maybe someday be walking down those stairs in the lobby and I'll see a handsome man in a white uniform. And he'll introduced me to his wife.
Thanks for agreeing to see me, Catherine.
Mrs. Woodbridge, please. Our friendship was tenuous at best.
Perhaps ours was, but it's not the same for Terry. He loves you.
You just don't give up, do you? You'll convince me to take him back. And then the two of you will split the profits. I've already told you the millions don't exist.
Believe me, just this once. I think a woman knows when a man's in love with her.
By the tear in his eye and the tremor in his voice. Those are the tricks of your trade, aren't they?
Terry could have gone off with you. Instead, he told you the truth. That has to mean something.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to make some arrangements about my bill. You know that check I said was going to clear?
Mrs. Woodbridge already took care of everything.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't allow her to do that. Would you call and tell her that...
She just checked out, Mr. Dolan.
Thanks. Hi, Eddie.
Hey, why the long face? If you're short, I can give you an advance.
Oh, thanks, Eddie, but it's about time I stopped taking from everyone and giving something in return. I think this belongs to you.
Hey, my good friend. Neither one of us won the wager.
I lost. I really lost. See you around. Katie?
Well, Terry, didn't you get my message? If we don't hurry, we'll miss our plane.
Well, Katie, well...
Terry, the truth. Do you want to go with me?
More than anything in the world.
Then do.
But, Katie, I love you too much. I can't have you supporting me.
A job just opened up at the company.
A job?
Public relations. It's perfect for you.
Well, that's very kind of you. But you said you didn't have any money.
I don't, but the company does. I need your help.
Help?
Well, somebody's got to help me budget my money. I only get a couple of $100,000 a year.
Only a couple of $100,000 a year? Well, I guess we can tighten up our belts and make do. Okay, come on, let's go.
Claire? Claire Trumbull, what a pleasant surprise. We met in Monte Carlo. Remember? What a wonderful time we had skiing. Back in
Christine, I didn't expect you to come back here.
After I said goodbye to Tom, I needed to see you.
Want some coffee?
No, thanks. I waited a long time for you to give me this.
You've made up your mind about us?
Are you asking me to marry you because you want to? Or because Tom prompted you to do it?
Christine.
I love you. I always will. But I can't deny what I felt for Tom. There were moments, more than moments, when I think I might have gone with him.
Don't talk about this. Don't think about it. Just put the ring on.
I can't. Peter, I'm sorry. If I came to you now, if I said everything was the same between us.
It isn't, though, is it?
I don't want to lose you. But it isn't right. Not now.
you. As long as we care about each other, we'll find our way back. Even if it takes time.
Good morning, Mr. McDermott.
Ask Joe to give it a wash and wax this morning, will you?
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Early morning or late night?
Breakfast meeting with the Hotel Owners Association.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean... I wasn't prying.
I know. It's okay.
Oh, Peter, this is so awkward. I just don't know where we stand anymore.
Neither do I. But we'll work through it. Walk you to your office.
These negotiations may open up a new source of Thai silk for us.
Well, office services has a typist and a notary on call. And room service is standing by with a complete Oriental menu. They have meat crab, shrimp toast.
You're very efficient, Miss Gillette.
Just following orders. Miss Gresham and I talked on the phone.
Several times.
Oh, no doubt. I sometimes think she can read my mind.
After 18 years of being his personal secretary, it's easier than he thinks.
Mr. Danforth, I was hoping I'd catch you. Ward Matthews. I'm a private investigator here in town.
We have business?
Well, I guess you might call it personal business of a sort. You see, I think I've found your granddaughter.
I don't know what kind of joke you think you're playing.
This way, Mr. Danforth.
Well, it's no joke, sir. Of course, she's not the 3-year-old you remember from before the kidnapping. But I've checked the records, tracked her back 15 years to when she was abandoned in a small town in Arkansas.
And now you expect a reward?
Well, I believe you did offer $100,000 for her safe return.
If I took the word of every opportunist who crawled out of the woodwork, I'd have a dozen Karens by now.
I think you'll feel differently, sir, once you see her.
No, Mr. Matthews. I will not see her, or you. My family's misfortune is not going to be turned into a shell game.
Oh, before you go in there,
Good. Unposed, candid. I love it. Mr. McDermott, I'm Gary Marsh. This is Brian Norcross, the photographer on the campaign. We'd like to thank you very much for going along with us on this.
Could you excuse me for a minute?
They're here for a new ad campaign for the Cabot hotels. They want to stress the personal touch, and Charles Cabot called to let you know you're to be the focus of the St. Gregory's print ads.
Well, if he called about all this, why didn't I know it?
He just called 5 minutes ago. How very Charles.
And they want to use me in these ads? I hate this. I really hate this.
Remember, we need his support for the new renovation budget.
Anything else I should know?
Oh, you asked me to remind you about Linda Davis. I set the Orleans suite aside for her. Linda Davis?
Yeah, the kid sister of a guy I grew up with. He's a tomboy, pigtails, freckles. She used to beat up on me, and her brother asked me to show her around the city.
Quite a day you have in store. Photographers, tomboys.
Here we go. So, you grew up with Mr. McDermott.
Yes. Peter and I fought all through elementary school.
He wasn't too tough on you, Miss Davis.
No, I managed to hold my own.
And upon the successful completion of these negotiations... Where was I?
These negotiations.
Sorry, I can't seem to concentrate.
You're thinking about Karen, aren't you?
Ruth, I lost her 16 years ago. Now, if she were alive, we would have heard something legitimate long before now. No one wants her back more than I do, but she's gone. Now, if I've learned to live with that...
You can't blame yourself, Franklin. You followed the ransom instructions to the letter. You paid every penny they demanded.
I could have brought the police in sooner. I could have offered a larger reward. 100 things. But none of them would bring her back now. Any more than seances or psychics or some detective with his cock and bull story.
But as long as there's the slightest chance, shouldn't you just...
No. She lives only in our memory now. Like her parents. Let us allow them to rest in peace.
All right, turn this way. A little bit. Chin up. More. All right, now smile. Smile. A little more.
Do you think you could be a little looser, Peter? A little more relaxed?
I'm not a model, Gary.
He's telling us.
Couldn't you just take a picture of the staircase without me on it?
Now, the thrust of the campaign is the personal touch. It's the service, the smiles, and the people who make the St. Gregory so special, you see?
Uh-huh.
All right, let's try it again. You're doing great.
Okay, here we go. Nope. Sorry. He's sweating. Touch up.
On the way.
Hey, I have a hotel to run, and I can't do that and play poster boy at the same time.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but these work orders need your approval.
Hey, no, it's fine, Christine. Can we take a break, fellas?
I understand your childhood nemesis has checked in. You're gonna have to face her sooner or later.
Right, I know. Well, I'll drop by her suite after this session. Oh, I'm sorry. I must have the wrong suite.
Well, Peter,
Linda?
it's me.
Little Linda?
Come on in.
Oh, you've changed.
But you haven't.
Well, I grew a beard.
But it doesn't hide your smile. I would know you anywhere. What happened to that tooth I chipped?
What's lucky for you, I got a good dentist. I'm stronger than you are now, you know.
You always were. You were just too polite to hit back.
So, what are you doing in San Francisco?
Vacation. My first in years. It's not easy when you own your own business. I have a construction company in Iowa.
A construction company? Why am I not surprised?
Peter, there is so much to catch up on.
Why don't we do it over dinner? I heard about this wonderful restaurant on Russian Hill. It's my treat. Unless you have other plans.
Well, no. I'd like that.
Did you see him? What'd he say?
He's tougher than I thought. I don't blame him for not wanting to open up old wounds.
But he's got to see me, you promised.
I told you we'd get in to see him, and we will. But you've got to be patient.
You know what patient gets you? 4 years in an orphanage, hoping you're cute enough so someone will want to take you home. It's getting bounced from one foster home to another, then finally a family with kids who won't let you forget you're adopted, a father who drinks too much and hits you when he does. I don't want to be patient anymore. I want a home, a family of my own.
Karen, you've got to trust me. I'll make him see you. And when he sees you, he'll know you're his granddaughter. Everything's gonna be okay. You'll see.
As far back as I can remember, I've never been anybody. Just a ward of the state, an extra mouth to feed, or run away. But now I have a chance.
That's right. A chance. So let's improve the odds, all right? Okay. Tell me what your room looked like. The wallpaper.
Beige, with rows of pink and sort of orange flowers.
Your favorite toy.
Ginny, a rag doll with red hair and a green silk dress.
Okay, now on your way home from the zoo that day, how many men stopped the car?
There were 3.
Mail check.
Sorry, hon, nothing yet.
Waiting for the results is harder than the bar exam itself, especially the second time around.
Maybe in the afternoon mail. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Gary, where have you been, man? I've been looking all over for you.
What are you so happy about? We've got $1 million campaign slipping through our hands, all because McDermott won't say cheese.
Wait, maybe not. Now, all we need is somebody who represents the St. Gregory, right? Somebody who's look and say, stay with us, and you're gonna want to do just that. Am I right?
Right.
Check these out.
Christine Francis?
Yes.
I hear the Dutch apple pie in this place is terrific. Let me buy you a slice while we talk about Karen.
I don't think we should.
Miss Gresham, when I first met Karen, she was a street kid, runaway. But the dreams she told me about didn't square with the lower class life she ran away from. They were too vivid, too detailed. They were more like flashes of memory, of someone else's memory. And I wanted to find out whose. This is what I came up with. Medical records, blood type and match, etc. Just take a look at them. That's all I ask.
Billy. You recognize him?
Yeah, local guy. His name is Matthews, I think. Private investigator. That's about it.
Could you sort of check him out for me?
Sure.
Very thorough, Mr. Matthews. But all it proves is that this girl might be Karen Danforth, not that she is.
Well, 100% ID would require prints and a tissue match. With both parents deceased and only a foreign birth certificate to go by, this is the best that can be done. Short of talking with Karen herself.
There is a resemblance to Karen's mother, but I've seen it in every would-be Karen. I think I want to see it.
Miss Gresham.
Please. You can't possibly remember me.
Mr. Matthews told me who you were. I'm afraid I don't remember much before the orphanage, except bits and pieces. Sometimes I see pictures of things, like a bedroom with a high ceiling and rows of pink and sort of orange flowers on the walls. I had a dream once about an old rag doll with bright frizzy red hair and a green silk dress. Ginny.
Karen brought a doll like that back from Milan when her parents returned from our factory over there. She was only 2. Ginny was as close as she could come to saying Gina. Did you ever dream of taking a trip on an ocean liner?
I remember coming down a long white stairway and a man with white hair who made me cry.
I don't know who you could be talking about. Certainly not one of our staff. I don't remember anything like that. And the rest could have come from any number of sources.
Excuse me.
She's just nervous, a little excited.
I'm sorry, Mr. Matthews. I really have to be getting back upstairs.
But I see it so clearly. He picked Ginny and me up, and his beard was so scratchy it made me cry.
My God. It was so long ago. We drove into New York to meet the ship. It was the first time Karen had ever seen Mr. Danforth. He'd grown a beard. He thought it made him look dignified. But the way it made you cry, he shaved it off. That could have been...
Miss Gresham, if there's even a chance that this is Karen, won't you help us get to Mr. Danforth? Help convince him.
I don't know.
Why'd you take a chance like that? It's something I hadn't researched. Something we haven't even talked about.
It just seemed right.
You're joking.
No joke. We think that you'd be perfect. The camera loves you.
Well, the hotel needs me. What about Charles Cabot?
I already cleared it with Charles. He thinks it's a wonderful idea.
He's wrong.
Well, you tell him that. Christine, it's for the St. Gregory.
Oh, dirty pool, Peter. You know, that's the only argument I can't fight.
Great. We'll start tonight with some skyline shots from the penthouse. You don't mind, do you, Peter?
I do. I don't want to run you out of your suite.
It's okay, really. I got that old friend to show around anyway.
Perfect. Say about 8 o'clock? Are you excited? I'm excited.
Thank you.
Miss Gresham, I really wouldn't push like this if it weren't so important to Karen. Did you get a chance to talk with Mr. Danforth?
Yes, I did. But I'm afraid it didn't do any good. His mind is made up.
Well, there must be some way to work this out.
He did ask me to make reservations for us in the Carlisle. He calls it a working dinner. I think he expects me to take notes between courses. 8 o'clock. But you didn't hear it from me.
Perfect. Now, look a little this way.
Is there a problem?
It's my fault, Brian. She caught me staring.
Can't say I blame you. All right, look, I gotta reload anyway. Now, just don't go anywhere.
I'm sorry if I embarrassed you.
No, no, not at all. Well, a little.
I think you'd be used to getting looked at. A woman as beautiful as you are.
Okay, now you're embarrassing me.
Have dinner with me tomorrow night.
I can't.
Somebody else?
Well, not really. The truth is, I'm not sure. I guess it's complicated.
Well, maybe an uncomplicated dinner is just what you need.
Let's remember why we're here, shall we?
Thank you. Beautiful.
Either I'm getting older or negotiations are getting harder. Another couple of days like this and I'll be ready for a tie silk straitjacket.
Oh, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
What are you looking at? Do you think that's her? The girl?
It must be. And doesn't she look like?
No, I'm not going to play that game. With you or anyone else.
You know, Karen, I think it'd be better if you sat over here.
Mr. Matthews has gone to a great deal of trouble. But it's all for nothing.
You were saying?
I'll see her.
Peter, you made that up. I never pushed you into the lake. I didn't.
Face it, when other girls played nurse, you supplied the patients.
Well, yes, but if I'd known you were going to turn out like this, I think I would have staked a claim on you back in the 5th grade. How is it that you're still single after all these years?
Well, I was married. It didn't work out as well as either of us had hoped.
And now? No one else?
I don't know. How's that for an answer?
Evasive.
Well, it wasn't meant to be. There's been a more recent relationship, but I honestly don't know where it stands, where it's going, if it's going. But I do know that I should be going.
Oh, but how about tomorrow? Let me show you San Francisco.
I think that's my line.
Oh, well, in that case, I accept. Let's say 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
Good. Oh, Peter?
Hmm?
Good night.
Night.
I only remember pieces, but they never come in together into anything whole. I see my father in a big room filled with color, unrolling a big bolt of bright red cloth, pulling threads out of it. And then it's like someone changes the channel and I see you in a garden filled with flowers, roses, and then a short man with a wrinkled face.
That would be Stevens, the gardener. He hasn't worked at the house in 10 years.
Every newspaper and magazine in the country carried articles, pictures of the house, of the staff. We were on public display for over a year. Do you remember anything that wasn't carried on the front page somewhere?
A big house with tiled floors and stone walls. Mother would read under the arbor while I played in the garden. Or was that the foster home in Arkansas? It gets so I can't tell the old memories from the new ones anymore.
Yes, yes, very convenient. You and Mr. Matthews have put on quite a good show, but I'm afraid it's only a show. What is he paying you for all this? A percentage of his reward?
I'm not here for money. I remember things. And the more I remember, the more I miss. Of my family, of my own family.
Your family? Your family?
Please don't turn your back on me. Don't shut me out after all I've been through. I won't let you push me away like you pushed my father away. You were angry at something he did, and you yelled at him that he was no son of yours. Now you're doing it to me.
How could you know that? We were alone. There was no one else in the room.
Except, possibly, a 3-year-old girl playing with her rag doll under the big oak desk in your study.
Yes. Karen used to hide under the desk. Karen. My Karen.
I saw the light on.
Well, I thought I should get some more work done. Today was kind of busy.
Did you eat?
Yeah. Yeah, I had a bite.
Oh. With Linda?
Mm-hmm. How was the photo session?
Fine. Gary asked me to dinner tomorrow night.
Oh? Well, Linda wanted me to show her around the city tomorrow.
Are you going to?
I promised her brother I would. What about Gary? Are you having dinner with him?
Would that bother you?
Well, we said we should pull back. Not be so serious, have more fun.
Does that mean dating other people?
I don't know. Does it?
I don't know.
I swear, if those bar exam results aren't in the afternoon mail, I'm gonna give it all up.
Right. And do what?
I don't know. Become a professional surfer. I'll follow the sun.
You know how easily a sunburn.
I didn't say it was a perfect plan. We'll talk about it at lunch.
Okay.
You buy.
There's sure nothing like this in Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
You love it here, don't you?
San Francisco is the best. I feel like it's mine, but I bet everybody in San Francisco feels the same way. It's a special place.
It's a special place for a special man.
I'm sorry, that was too forward, wasn't it? Peter, I don't mean to make you feel...
It's not you. It's me. And it's you.
Well, is that good or bad?
I don't know. I just know I'm having a good time.
Well, that's something. I'll settle for that. If you throw in dinner. I mean, not that I'm keeping track, but I do think that it's your turn.
You bought more dresses for me in one morning than I've owned my entire life. I don't feel like I deserve all this.
Well, we both deserve it. I haven't bought anything more exciting than a 3-piece suit for more years than I care to remember. This is fun for me, too, you know, Karen.
But I feel like I'm getting in the way. All those meetings you had Miss Gresham cancel?
No, there's so much catching up to do. So much time to be made up for. I don't want to waste 1 second.
The only thing missing are my parents. Mr. Matthews never told me what happened.
Your kidnapping was terrible. For all of us. But particularly for your father. He went into a tailspin, lost interest in everything, and started to drink. One night, he and Elaine went out to dinner. He was driving. On the way home, he lost control of the car. They were killed instantly.
I guess we were all kidnapped that day, weren't we?
A little bit more, all right. Look to him. Give him the look. That's the look. Look back to me. Back to me. Chin up. Oh, good. All right, now just a bit more smile. No, that's too much. I want friendly, but not too friendly. You know what I mean?
Somewhere between the Mona Lisa and Bozo the Clown?
It's a fine line. Cross it if you dare.
All right, now I want you to act as if you were really in charge here, okay?
I am really in charge. Where did you get him?
So what about that dinner tonight?
I'm sorry.
What about dinner? You promised me an answer.
Christine, I'm afraid I won't have those new contracts to you till sometime in the morning. I have plans tonight.
Well, tomorrow will be just fine. About dinner. I'd love to.
Great.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's the look. That's the look. From what I've been able to find out, Ward Matthews works both sides of the street. Wherever the money is.
I had my suspicions of him, of course. But he's given me back my granddaughter, for God's sake.
That's why I asked Mr. Griffin to look into his background.
I wish I could tell you he's above trying to pull a scam, but I can't. He's almost had his license pulled a couple of times. Charges of perjury, insurance fraud, though nothing against him's ever been proven.
Dear. I'm sorry we couldn't bring you more welcome news, but I thought you ought to know.
Thank you. Where is she now?
With Mr. Matthews.
This is all you've got?
It's not only all I've got, it's all there is. The decorator felt we should rely on his reputation.
His reputation is fine, but how can we go ahead without more than this ballpark estimate?
Peter, I'm doing my best on this project, but the man is impossible.
Mr. McDermott, Miss Davis would like to see you a moment.
Well, send her in.
Hi, Peter. Well, I was just leaving for Union Street, and I wanted to stop by and confirm dinner at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, I'll pick you up. Oh, Linda Davis, Christine Francis, our general manager.
How do you do?
Well, it's nice to meet you. I'm sorry to interrupt your meeting. I'll see you tonight.
So, that's Linda.
She grew up, huh?
So it seems. She's beautiful.
Well, Gary's not so bad himself.
So, we're both dating after all. Isn't this fun?
And after Neiman Marcus, we stopped at Saks, where he bought me this for only $300. And then, of course, there is this little number.
Sure, you got what you want.
What's the matter with you?
It's what's the matter with you. You're starting to act like you believe our little story yourself.
So what if I am a little? It could be true. I want it to be.
Well, if wishes were all it took, then we'd both be millionaires. But we're not. All the time you're out there shopping with your sugar daddy, the odds are going up that you're gonna get too friendly and talk too much. And the old man will get wise and decide to welch on the reward, and then I'm gonna be left out in the cold. Don't forget that we are still in this together. And if I don't get what I want, nobody gets anything. So don't choose between us.
Don't try to make me.
Karen, open this door. Karen!
And in this terrible weather. Oh, no, not since mid-afternoon, Mr. Griffin. Mr. Matthews thought she was with us. Oh, yes, I'm sure you'll find her. I just hope it's soon. Yes.
I checked the lobby, the shopping arcade, and the coffee shop. No sign of her. I keep flashing back 16 years to the last time she disappeared.
Franklin, stop doing this to yourself. You are no more responsible for her now than you were then. And after what Mr. Griffin told us, we really can't be sure if it is Karen. Karen, my God. Come in, dear. You're chilled to the bone.
I wanted to run, get away from Matthews, but I couldn't go back to the street.
Get her out of those wet clothes. I'll call for a doctor.
Dave? It's just turned up at the bell captain's desk for you. Is it what I think it is?
The question is it what I hope it is?
Oh, honey.
It's life or death. It's a test. It's a simple test. If I pass, that's terrific. If I fail, I just become the world's oldest living bellhop.
Well?
I'm a
We got some unfinished business.
Can't it wait until tomorrow morning?
No, I want the money that's due me. Dredge that girl up out of the gutter or put all this together just for my own amusement.
Now, understand this, Mr. Matthews. I hate the men who kidnapped my granddaughter. But I despise the bloodsuckers who tried to turn my family's tragedy into their personal profit.
Are you accusing me? No. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to tell me I don't get anything, is that it? Yeah, I might have known it. The rich get richer. If I don't get my money, you don't get a granddaughter, old buddy.
What are you saying?
I'm telling you, she's a phony. I made her up. Once I found a girl with the right look, the right blood type. Oh, and her name was Loretta then. Well, I coached her. I taught her everything. Every little detail about your life, about your family, about your house.
Stop.
Karen.
What he says is true, as far as it goes. I was desperate for a way off the street, and he gave me one. Learning about you and your family seemed like a small price to pay. But what started out as a story began to feel like a part of me. Maybe it was the endless repetition, I don't know. But something inside me answered back. And that's when the dream started. I can't blame you for not knowing who I am. I don't know anymore myself.
I'm going to write you a check for $10,000, Mr. Matthews, on condition that you leave us immediately and permanently.
10,000. Yeah, the reward was for 100 grand, pal.
I don't believe in rewarding criminals. And make no mistake, that is what you are. Now, accept this token payment for all your trouble and leave us alone or face charges of attempted fraud and risk losing your license. The choice is yours.
Some choice.
Why did you do that?
Because I need a family.
so do you.
You mean you do believe I'm Karen?
I'm not sure what I believe. But you know just enough to make me wonder. And you believe that you're Karen. My Karen. So perhaps that's enough for now.
Sorry to keep you waiting. An owner's work.
No, don't explain. I understand.
Marlene, we didn't order those.
I did. Black Russians. Okay with you?
Yeah, sure. Some people find them a little sweet, but I like them fine.
Boy, I'm losing points left and right, aren't I?
Points? You make it sound like this is a test of some kind.
Peter, with every look, I see you comparing me with someone else. Someone who lets you pick the restaurant, lets you make the first move, doesn't order Black Russians.
I'm just in a difficult place right now.
I know I'm not helping. I know I'm too pushy, too aggressive. Growing up with 5 brothers, I guess I had to be, you know, just to hold my own. But it got me where I am today. Successful, alone.
The problem isn't you, Linda. It's just too soon for me to even think about a romantic involvement with anyone.
But if you were to, would I stand a chance, honestly?
Any man would be a fool not to fall in love with you.
That's about the nicest rejection I've ever received. You know, Peter, I've got a plane in the morning. Would you mind terribly if we made it an early evening?
Give me Dexter Gordon on the sax, Ella Fitzgerald at the microphone, and a beautiful woman to share my table, and I'm a happy man.
We had Ella here last year. What a voice. I'm glad you like jazz.
What?
Oh, I don't know. You and me this evening. It's just more difficult than I remembered. I listen to myself and I sound like Barbara Walters. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite food?
Nervous?
Yes.
Well, you shouldn't be. We're gonna have a great time together tonight. What do you say we toast to that? Something wrong?
Your ring. I never noticed it before. Is that a wedding ring?
Is that a problem?
A problem? All of this attention, the compliments, the wine, and you're married?
I never said I wasn't. The ring has been here all along.
I never thought to look. What can I say? I'm out of practice.
Christine, if I've been reading you right, you're not looking for a commitment now any more than I am. Just a good time, a little fun. Am I wrong?
I'm not looking for a relationship, that's for sure, but...
But you said it yourself. Every conversation we've had has been more like an interview. I feel like I'm being auditioned as a replacement for Peter McDermott.
You know about Peter?
I'd have to be blind not to.
I think this evening has been a mistake for both of us. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. If you want to stay, stay. And try the souffle. It's a house specialty.
Miss Francis.
I heard the band was wonderful. Thought I'd stop by and judge for myself.
Are you joining Mr. McDermott?
date over so soon?
I could ask you the same thing.
Well, yeah, well, it was good. Great, really. She had to get up early tomorrow morning, back to Iowa. What about the ad man?
Great. It was great.
So if we both had such wonderful evenings, what are we doing here alone?
Good question.
You feel like dancing? Christine, we were friends long before we were lovers. Frankly, I could use a friend about now.
Me too. This new relationship of ours is gonna take some getting used to.
I won't stop being jealous.
Neither will I.
I believe Bradford Tours made a reservation for Lloyd.
Mrs. Lloyd, welcome. We've been expecting you. I'm Julie Gillette, Director of Guest Relations.
Sorry we're late. Have you seen the guide from Bradford Tours? We were supposed to meet him here an hour ago.
Are these our missing tourists? I guess we don't have to send out the bloodhounds after all. I'm Frank Bradford. Welcome to San Francisco, Mrs. Lloyd.
Oh, Iris, please. Frank. And this is Rebecca.
Rebecca? Rebecca and Iris Lloyd. Sisters?
Oh, everybody makes that mistake.
And Mother just loves it when they do. You've just made her day.
Oh, I see. Well, that's what I'm here for. Let's get you settled, shall we?
Yes.
Camber Suite?
Ready and waiting. And if there's anything I can do for you that Frank can't.
Oh, thank you, Julie. But I think he'll do just fine.
Right this way, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Peter! You can let me out right over here.
Hey?
Peter!
I was just on my way to the airport. Your plane couldn't have been that far ahead of schedule.
Well, I managed to get an earlier flight. I was just so anxious to see you.
Here you go, 20 ought to cover it.
No, Peter,
my
it was my
city,
ride.
my treat. You look terrific. How are you?
Actually, I'm doing quite well. Considering.
Me too, Kate. Me too. Richard was my best friend. But you know, I think some time at the St. Gregory might be exactly what the doctor ordered.
Oh, just seeing you, I feel better. So tell me, are you still the most eligible bachelor in San Francisco?
You're not still matchable.
Oh, those days are over. I have to think for myself now.
The suite is wonderful. A view clear to Sausalito. Or is that Oakland?
That's Sausalito, or I reclaim the reservation clerk's tip. I'm glad you approve.
We didn't come 1,500 miles to admire the view or the crown molding. If we wanted to sit around like a couple of lumps, we could have stayed home. We're here to see, to do, to experience.
Then I'm your man. The tour, followed by dinner at Fisherman's Wharf, gets underway just as soon as you're ready. I'll meet you downstairs in the lobby.
Cute, huh?
What's next? Carousing in the elevator with bellboys?
I'd probably keep them up past their bedtime. My vice may be youth, but yours is paperwork.
Fortunately, my boss considers that a virtue.
You can call it whatever you want, as long as you leave it back in the office. No one is indispensable, and life is much too short.
Not for you, Mom. Traveling, committees, volunteer work. You know, since you left Dad and spread your wings, there are 20-year-old girls in my office that can't keep up your pace.
Well, I guess I don't do so bad for an old broad of 60. Maybe it's because I've been blessed with the really important things in life. My health. You.
So, naturally, Peter was our first and only choice for best man. Well, he's certainly my choice. I remember you had to change planes 3 times to get to the wedding.
Anything for you and Richard.
I'm sorry, I never had a chance to meet him.
Oh, you would have liked him, and I know he would have liked you, right, Kate?
Richard liked everybody. So, do you ever get up to the lake? The lake?
Oh, a little jewel about 30 miles north of here. We discovered it by accident on Richard and Kate's first visit. Wasn't on any of the maps.
So Richard officially claimed it in the names of the 4 of us. The 4 of you. Richard and me, and Peter, and that girl you were dating at the time. Who was it? Deborah?
Kate.
Well, it was always someone. Richard and I could never keep them straight. I'm surprised Peter could.
What about you? It's been a year. Are you seeing anyone?
No. Men like Richard are hard to find. Right now, my only interest is in spending as much time as possible with our best friend. Maybe while I'm here, we could go up to the lake, like old times.
Oh, heaven. Union Street, Ghirardelli Square, dinner at Fisherman's Wharf. If anyone should ask, I can describe San Francisco in just 4 words. Great food, sore feet. Oh, what a day. And when that cable car stopped halfway up Nob Hill, I thought it was gonna slide right out on the street. Oh, it's a good thing you were there to catch me.
Just part of Bradford Tour's friendly service.
Good evening. Can I get you anything?
Irish coffee? 3 on, please, thank you.
Do you think there'll be time to see the new aquarium down in Monterey?
Oh, now there's a request I don't hear every day.
Oh, they have an incredible collection. The mola mola, the octopus rubescens.
Could you speak in terms the rest of us could understand? Oysters Rockefeller, lobster Thermidor.
No, Iris, please, Rebecca, go on.
It's just that I've always had a fascination for manta rays, dolphins, the way those beautiful jellyfish sort of pulsate through the water. They all seem sort of, I don't know, otherworldly. Sounds kind of weird, huh?
Oh, no, not to me. Oceanography is what brought me to California in the first place. How did you get interested in it?
Well, Monterey. Oh, I bet they have some wonderful restaurants out on the coast. Could you find us a really colorful one with a spectacular view of the ocean at sunset?
I had no idea you were seeing someone. But she seems very lovely, Peter, and very nice to allow me this time alone with you.
Well, I'm glad you approve. She's very important to me.
You say that, but I know you. You'll never settle down. Richard always said you weren't the settling type.
Yeah, but even Richard was wrong from time to time.
Not that I ever noticed. But he cared a great deal about you. You know that, don't you?
He was a very special friend. They don't come along often.
I know. What can we do?
What do you mean?
Peter, I didn't come to San Francisco just for a visit. I wanted to see you, of course, but there's something more. Something I find a little difficult to ask, but...
Well, you can ask me anything. You know that.
I want to ask you to father a child for me. I want to have your baby.
Peter.
Oh, I'm sorry I'm so late. I didn't mean to be.
Right. Old friends. Got a lot to talk about.
There's an understatement.
Everything okay between you?
I don't know. She asked me something that, well, took me by surprise.
Really? What? If I'm not prying.
Well, Kate wants me to father her child.
You're joking. You're not joking.
I'm not joking.
But how? I mean, I know how. Why? I don't understand. Father her child?
Through artificial insemination. She said it's simple, clinical, it's unemotional.
Unemotional? So why is my stomach churning? Why is my heart racing?
This is as much a shock for me as for you.
Want to bet?
She said it would be for Richard, for his memory. It would be the child they never had.
You're considering it?
I told her I would. Consider it.
Well, it's a decision you have to make.
Neiman Marcus. I don't know which will give out first, my feet or my charge card.
And I thought we were going to spend the afternoon touring San Francisco landmarks.
Fashion landmarks. Oh, you would look wonderful in that, Rebecca. Come to think of it, so would I. Frank, what do you think?
Oh, no, don't look at me. I know something about hotels and restaurants, but nothing whatever about women's clothes.
Oh, come on, let's take a look.
I don't think it's me, Mom. You go ahead.
All right. But when we get back to St. Louis, we'll be begging to borrow it.
That wasn't really her talking. It's the buying frenzy. She'll get back on the plane humming, "I left my gold card in San Francisco."
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Do I hear a sense of humor there?
I guess when I'm with Mom, she sparkles enough for both of us. Oh, look.
McVee's. One-of-a-kind treasures. The old man collects them from all over the world.
How beautiful.
Talk about one-of-a-kind, huh? The original endangered species.
The last unicorn. What do you suppose it must feel like to be that alone? No one else to tell what you know, how you feel, share your secrets.
I want to buy it for you.
Oh, I couldn't accept that.
No, please. You're right. He's all alone. Wouldn't want that.
No, I guess we wouldn't.
Come on. Hi.
The meeting ran longer than I thought, and traffic was unbelievable. Peter been asking for me?
Oh, he waited as long as he could and finally had to leave. He asked me to give you this. Anything wrong?
Wrong? What could be wrong?
I'll never forget the day we all met.
The tie department at Mason's. Richard bought a half a dozen ties he didn't need just so he'd keep talking to you. You're all he talked about from that moment on.
To me, he talked about you. That's why I thought you'd help me. There never was a better friend in the world.
He was always there for me, Kate.
And now I'm asking you to be there for him. Through me. Through our child. Yours, mine, and Richard's.
It doesn't feel comfortable. It seems, I don't know, unnatural.
What's unnatural is losing your husband at the prime of his life in a senseless accident.
If you want a child, there are other ways.
Oh, I could adopt. I could go to other men. But I don't just want to have a baby. That isn't the point. I want to create something special. A child with intelligence, sensitivity, strength. A child I can mold in Richard's image. You're his best friend. I know that's what Richard would want. I can't bring him back, Peter. But I can make a part of him live again. Please help me do
Hey, you're good at this.
You're not so bad yourself. But has everyone forgotten how to touch when they're dancing?
Hey, you're talking to an old-timer. I remember.
Well, I guess we showed them how to cut a rug.
Speak for yourself. Where do you get this energy?
Oh, it's my youthful attitude and mega doses of every supplement from A to zinc.
two of you look like Frankie and Annette out there.
Oh, it was fun, wasn't it?
Rebecca, you look terrific.
I don't remember you packing that dress, dear.
Spotted it in the hotel boutique. Bought it on impulse.
Impulse. That's not like you.
I must get it from you.
You and your partner were wonderful out there.
Oh, thank you.
I have an impulse of my own. Would you care to dance?
Equal time or just part of your full-service tour package?
This is strictly personal. I've been off the clock since dinner. Come on.
I admire your courage.
Oh, thank you, but courage has nothing to do with it.
Well, it does when you get to be our age.
Does Mrs. Bradford approve of your dancing the night away with your clients?
Well, no, actually, she doesn't. She would much prefer her son to keep regular hours.
Her son?
Yeah.
I thought maybe you
Yeah, I
meant...
know what you thought. You thought I was married.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was. Once. A long time ago.
I'm sorry, Christine. I lost track of the time.
Your note said 8. It's 9:30. Why didn't you call? I've been worried sick.
I said I'm sorry. What more can I do? I've just got so much on my mind. I'm not thinking straight.
Dinner's cold.
We can have something else sent out.
It's okay. I'm too nervous to eat anyway. You talked.
Mm-hmm.
And you decided?
I'm gonna do it. I owe it to her. I owe it to Richard.
Peter! You might owe someone $20. You might owe someone a night on the town. How in the world do you owe someone a child?
Last night you said it was my decision.
Yes, but I didn't think you were gonna do it.
He was my best friend, Christine.
Wonderful. But isn't this carrying friendship to the extreme? Your friend is gone. We're the ones who have to live with this. Did you think about that? About us?
This has nothing to do with us, or about the way I feel about you.
Doesn't it? You're talking about giving another woman a child, a part of you. How can that not affect us?
I'm talking about a medical procedure, something that would take very little from me and could give Kate a lifetime of happiness. How can that be wrong?
You make this sound so simple, like giving blood to the Red Cross.
Maybe it is that simple. I thought you'd understand.
I want to, because I care about you. But I just don't.
Oh, God. I haven't danced so much since high school, I guess.
How does your mother do it? She'll have them all jitterbugging in there unless she wears the band out first.
Well, it won't be the first time. Oh, thanks for a wonderful evening.
My pleasure. Well, if we're going to get an early start tomorrow, I better get going.
Would you like to come in for a minute? The unicorn is beautiful, Frank. Thank you again.
You're both one of a kind. Seemed like the two of you belong together. should go.
The tour guide code.
Yeah, I guess so. How is it that an attractive woman like you is still single?
The right man just never came along, I guess. All right, so it's a little more complicated than that. Mom divorced my dad when I was still in school. It seemed like the end of the world. I always thought we were the perfect Ozzie and Harriet family. If they couldn't make it work, what kind of a chance did I have? Mom handled it with that way of hers. But by the time I got over it, all the men that were around turned out to be married or gay or both.
Not quite all of them.
Absolutely do not believe we can guarantee that many rooms. There are 3 conventions in town that weekend, and it's peak tourist season.
I already agreed. It's Senator Todd.
I don't care if it's President Todd. He wants an entire floor for this delegation of his.
This isn't about the rooms at all, is it? It's about me. It's about my decision last night.
And it was your decision, and you did make it. Now, we have a hotel to run. At least I do. I'll see what I can do about the senator after I deal with the staff meeting this morning.
Somebody get up on the wrong side of the hotel this
Get a minute,
morning?
Billy.
You're the boss.
Morning, Mom. I didn't hear you come in last night. What time did things break up?
They evicted us around 2 this morning, the party poopers. And, speaking of party poopers.
Well, you were having such a good time with the dance clinic. Frank and I went for a walk.
Careful, dear. Men like that can be entertaining. But they make a good part of their living escorting unattached women.
He bought this for me.
It'll probably show up on our bill anyway.
Sometimes I think nobody is good enough for your little girl.
I just don't want you to get hurt. Throw your life away on some user.
Frank isn't like that.
That's what every woman says when she gets involved. That's what I said about your father, and we all know how that turned out. Rebecca, you've got to be careful until the right man comes along. And when he does, we'll know it.
What if he already has?
This is just something I feel I should do. Am I crazy, or is Christine overreacting? Who's right?
Look, when it comes to feelings, I'm not sure there is a right or a wrong.
Well, that's not what I need to hear.
Suppose an old boyfriend of hers wanted Christine to have a baby for him. How would you feel?
Well, it's not the same thing. There's a difference between a quick medical procedure and carrying a baby.
But what's the difference emotionally? I mean, you'd always know that somewhere there's a child that's half Christine's. Can you honestly tell me that wouldn't bother you?
You ever thought about going into psychology?
What, and leave the St. Gregory? Not on the bed.
Oh, a ferry boat ride to Sausalito. Oh, what could be more relaxing, more scenic?
After brunch, I thought you might like to drive through the wine country.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Frank takes such good care of us.
So it seems. It's getting a little chilly out here. I think I'll go inside for coffee. Anyone else?
Thanks, Mom. Just black for me.
Cream for me. Thanks, Iris.
I don't want this vacation to end.
Does it have to so soon?
My work. I've got reports to get out, people depending on me.
Then we better make the most of the time we have.
I'm sorry I'm late, but your invitation was so unexpected. Well, we've all had our share of surprises lately, but I think yours wins the prize. Christine, until I arrived, I didn't know Peter was involved with anyone. And now you know. I don't see any changes in your game plan. I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't ask this if I had a choice. But my husband is gone. Have you tried putting yourself in my place?
Have you tried putting yourself in mine?
Yes, I have. And it looks pretty damn good to me. You'll marry Peter. You'll have children of your own.
And what makes you think you won't remarry? Wouldn't you rather have a child with someone you love? You're not in love with Peter, are you?
I love him as a friend. That's all. It's just that I want my child to be for Richard with someone who really meant something to him.
If you both wanted children so much, why didn't you have any?
For all the usual reasons, I guess. We put them off for work and for things we wanted to do. We always said we have plenty of time.
Kate, I'm sorry. I really am. But you're asking so much of Peter. So much of us.
Richard and I finally agreed that if he got this particular job in Connecticut, we'd settle down there and start our family. Well, one night he called from New Haven. He got the job, and he was driving back that night. A boy first, he said, and then a girl. It was late, and the weather was awful. I begged him to stay overnight, but he wanted to come home. So we could start. The roads were so slick, he was driving too fast. Don't you see, Christine? Richard died for the child. We never got the chance to conceive. I owe him this baby.
How could you do that? Just fire Frank like that. I didn't fire anybody, dear. I thanked him very courteously for showing us the town and said I didn't think we'd be requiring his services any longer.
What about me? What about what I think?
All three of us know what you think. You've been throwing yourself at him all day.
I'm 39 years old. What I do is none of your business.
Stealing kisses like a schoolgirl. Rebecca, he's just a man you happen to meet on vacation. But we fly back to St. Louis tomorrow. Besides, you've only known him a couple of days. How serious can this really be?
I don't know. But I'm willing to find out, to take a chance.
You mean give him a chance to use you up and then walk out on you?
If that happens, it's my problem and my decision, not yours. We've got to go on with our lives.
Rebecca, you and I, we're pals. We've helped each other through so much.
And held each other back from so much more.
This is really him talking, isn't it, Frank? putting these ideas in your head, trying to come between us just so we can get you into bed.
Mother, don't you understand? He already has.
Rebecca. Oh, Rebecca, I just want what's best for you.
No, Mother. You want what's best for you.
Ta-da.
All my favorites? What's the occasion?
No occasion. I just love you, that's all.
You love me?
Does that surprise you?
Well, no. No, it's just that after this morning...
I owe you an apology, Peter. For being so stubborn and insensitive and selfish, and you can stop me anytime.
What's this all about?
I had lunch with Kate today. I think I understand why this is all so important to her. So, if you want to, do it. It's okay with me. It's not that I'm totally crazy about the idea. What is so amusing?
I had a talk with Billy, and he made me see your point of view. I was thinking of telling Kate no.
You discussed this with Billy?
Mm-hmm.
This is a private matter.
Well, I didn't tell the Chronicle. I told a good friend whose opinion I trust. Someone who could be a little less emotional about all this.
Less emotional? Peter, you don't seem to realize this is an emotional issue. You are asking me to share you with another woman.
Damn it, I'm not going to bed with Kate.
Well, I admire your loyalties. It's your priorities that concern me. I mean, what about our commitment to each other?
It's still there. Nothing's changed. Hey, a minute ago you said you understood. You were for this.
I'm sorry. This is all so confusing. I always figured our first serious discussion about children would concern just you and me. What's happening to us?
Let's just take it a step at a time. To start with, we're kissing.
But the dinner, your favorite.
You are my favorite. The one, the only.
Some breakfast?
Thanks for the offer. And for last night. But I'd better talk to her. Patch things up while I still have the nerve.
Mothers can be pretty formidable sometimes.
Some more than others. Problem is, she was right. About just enough.
Like what?
Like, we've just met. I hardly know you, and I'm carrying on like some crazy woman. Slamming doors, arguing with my mother. We never argue.
Rebecca, it's only been 3 days. I don't even know the names of all your cousins yet. I don't know who your best friend in the 7th grade was, but somehow I feel that I know you better. I know you more deeply than friends I've spent half my life with, even most of my own family.
I know. But what are we doing, really? After only 3 days? You live here. I'm going back to a job in St. Louis.
We'll sort out the geography later. But first, you have to understand. to believe, as much as I do, that I love you. Rebecca, I love you.
Mom? Mom?
So, this is the lake I've heard so much about. How come you never brought me out here before this?
I don't know. It was always kind of a private place for me. Somewhere to go, to think, sort things out. I taught Richard how to fish out here. He taught me how to play the harmonica.
And even trade?
He never caught a fish, and I think I drove the fish away with my harmonica playing.
Peter.
Hmm?
If you really feel this is right, I want you to do it.
I appreciate that. But I just can't go through with it. I feel like I'd be helping Kate live in the past. It's been a year. She's not dating. She's not even looking. She talks about Richard like he's still alive, or like I could make him alive by giving her a child. Kate deserves better.
Better? I don't know. When it comes to friends, she's got the best.
We've said some pretty hurtful things to one another. I'm sorry. I'd like to take them back.
I would too. I know it must seem pretty foolish to you. A shameless flirt, hanging out with my daughter, dancing, trying to be the girl I'll never be again, no matter what I wear or who I'm with.
Please. I wish I had half the energy you do.
Oh, I push too hard, don't I? I embarrass you.
Mom, that's not the problem. The men I see, or try to see anyway.
I only want to keep you from making a mistake.
But I'm not in high school anymore. What gives you the right to?
I'm your mother.
Since when does that make you such an expert?
Since your father left me.
But you left him.
That's what I told everybody. I couldn't admit the truth, not even to you. He divorced me for that girl, barely 5 years older than you. You have no idea. You can't imagine how that felt. He wouldn't tell me why, but I knew. She could give him what I couldn't anymore. Softness, youth. That's what a man wants from a woman. And I'd already spent mine with him. 16 years. Wouldn't you know? The one thing I can't hold on to anymore. Any more than I could hold on to him.
It's all right, Mom. It's all right.
Oh, it hasn't been all right for a long time now. I don't think it'll ever be all right again. I don't want to be alone. I don't want you to end up this way.
We're not alone. We have each other. But I've got to find my own life, make my own mistakes.
I know. I can't protect you from the world anymore. I couldn't even protect myself. I guess we're both too old for me to be your meddling mother anymore. But I'd still like to be your friend.
Let's work on that together.
You know how I can be. It may not be easy.
The good things never are.
It's Christine, isn't it? She's convinced you not to do it. Thought you were stronger than that, Peter.
It's only partially, Christine. I want to do what's best for you.
What's best for me is having this baby. Richard's baby. There's nothing else in my life.
You gotta stop clinging to the past and start living again. Have a baby if that's what you want, but do it for yourself, with someone you love.
Richard wanted a child.
Kate,
No,
Richard
you don't
is gone.
You don't understand.
He's gone.
It doesn't have to be. This child can make him live again.
Richard is dead. You have to face that. I have to face that. A child won't bring him back to us. You really want to do something for him? You've got to do something for yourself. Something he'd want you to do. Let go of him.
I can't.
Kate, you know, Richard would be the first to tell you to move on. You do know that.
Peter,
Then do it for him.
Oh, Peter.
We'll both miss him. But everything's going to be all right again. You'll see. Everything's going to be fine. If you just let it.
Just put the bags in the cab.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Excuse me, but I don't see any of my bags here.
This is all Mrs. Lloyd wanted brought down.
Mother.
You'll need your things if you're going to stay another week.
Another week? What are you talking about?
I called your boss. It's all arranged.
Mother, you promised.
After 39 years, you can't expect me to go cold turkey. It was my last official act as a meddling mother. Well, next to last. I did make one more call. To him.
Frank? But I don't understand.
If you're going to take a chance, it might as well be with someone I already know.
Well, it looks like we finally got through an entire meal.
While it's still hot. Fortune cookie?
Confucius say, beware of strangers.
Confucius is a few days late. You know, before Kate arrived, I thought nothing could touch us. What happened, Peter?
I guess we're more vulnerable than we like to think we are. Your turn to peek into the future.
Whose future?
Ours, of course.
I'm not sure I want to.